Aimsy here of Aimsy's Antics. Welcome to my channel. I hope you're well today because I have a crafty project for you to have a go at. If you cast your mind back to last week, I made some really cute pyjamas using a really funky cactus print for the bottoms and around the neckband, but also I created a vinyl decal to go onto the top. So I thought I would show you how I made this vinyl decal, as well as how to layer heat transfer vinyl using the Silhouette Cameo 4 to do so. So if you would like to see how to make your own heat transfer vinyl decals to layer and put onto your garments, then let's get crafting. So here is the Silhouette Studio software, and I'm just setting up the page to be the same size as my cutting mat, which is 12 inch by 12 inch and is what the vinyl size is as well, although the vinyl decal isn't going to be this size. Now I looked around for different cacti pictures, however I thought I would go ahead with the cacti that are actually on the pattern of the pyjamas. So what I needed to do was trace the design of this, so I have minimized the photo a little bit and then selected the trace on the side, and I'm just tracing over that cacti and selecting this to, I think it's about 47%, 47% of the trace, and then selecting trace and detach, because that should trace around the cacti and then bring it out of the design like so. And then what I'm going to do is just delete what I don't need from that picture, so the background of that picture and any little bits that have traced out as well. And as you can see, the cacti still has a bit of that background pattern on it, so I am then going to select the eraser, zooming in and then just neatening this up with the eraser to remove any of that background. Once everything has been erased, I'm just copying and pasting it into that first tab of my silhouette, because all the photos are opened in different tabs, and then that first tab will be the working project one. So I'm repeating the same process with the remaining two cacti and some other designs that are on the fabric. So I've got some dots, some lines, some flowers and some crosses, just to tie in all the designs of the fabric with the vinyl decal. Again, copying and pasting them all to that first tab, so that is the working project document, if that makes sense. Because we are going to be layering heat transfer vinyl here, we need to create some layers. So as you can see on the cacti, they have some black detailing against the green background. So we want to remove these so that they will cut out of the background, but also so that we can cut them out in a contrasting vinyl to layer on top, if that makes sense. So again, I'm going to click the trace button and select the cacti, but then reduce that threshold of the trace really low so that it just covers the decal of the cacti, if that makes sense. Then what I did, because each individual thing has been cut out, I'm just selecting them all and grouping them together so that everything stays in place, so that when you come to cut them out, they will be in the exact spot that you need them to be to layer them. So as you can see here, it has been completely removed, and that is giving us the base layer of the cacti and the top of the decal bit to the cacti, if that makes sense. Repeating this for all of the cacti. Then, just to make the detailing a little bit larger, I'm using the offset panel to create a little bit of a extra line around them, just to thicken them. So I've gone for a 0.050 centimeter offset, and it just gives the pieces a bit of extra. Selects them all and then welding them so that the layering will look a little bit better, if that makes sense. I keep saying that, but hopefully it makes sense. And as you can see, it lines up beautifully with that cacti and the parts that have been cut out. And I am just repeating the process here with all three of the chosen cacti for this design. To make the cutting out of the vinyl a lot easier, I am just going to change up the line colour of each individual element. So the cacti are going to have a green line so that when you click the send tab, you can keep all the design together, but then just select to cut by colour. That way you can keep the design and know what it's going to look like, but only cut out the individual colours that you need. And it just makes it easier to organise that vinyl when cutting it out. I wanted to create a black outline around the cacti to tie everything together. So to create this, I am just selecting the cacti piece individually and using the offset panel once again and changing this down to 0.100 centimeters, and this should give an outline around the cacti. I am then going to click offset once again and change this to 0.020 centimeters, and this will bring in the offset even more, and it will actually give you a small line around the edges of the cacti, as you can see here. And I'm colouring these in black so that I can cut these out in black vinyl. I'm hoping this is making sense, and I keep saying that, but it's a little bit hard to explain sometimes, so hopefully it is making a bit of sense. And I'm doing the same thing with the flowers and the line dots, although the line dots and crosses don't necessarily need to have a contrasting outline. So what I'm going to do, the flowers are going to have a pink background, and then the middle of them it's going to be yellow, because I can't get quite the same design that is on the picture, but this is what it should create. So you've got a thin outline that can be layered in the vinyl. Once all the pieces have an outline how I wanted it, I then just place these around to create the cactus design, and moving the crosses, the lines, the dots, the flowers into place where I thought they looked best, and this ends up being the final design for the cacti part. Then it is time to add in a little bit of text, and I am taking a bit of inspiration from, I want to say late 90s, early 2000s, but I may be mistaken there, but it's a song by The Offspring, I believe. They're Pretty Fly for a White Guy. You're pretty fly for a white guy, that one. But I'm changing it up and making a little bit of a pun. And I want to say this was original, but I did actually see this on Etsy on somebody's artwork, and I absolutely loved it. I just thought it was so funny. So I am changing it to Pretty Fly for a Cacti, because why not? We love puns and it's cacti related. So I'm just changing up the colour of the font here and the font itself. So I'm having Pretty in the tulip font, and I will link that down below. I'm sure it's a free download, and it's something I use over on my blog, on my graphics, quite a lot. And then changing the fly and cacti to Lemon Tuesday, which is a Canva font, but you can actually download it for free, and I will link that down below as well. Welding all that together once it has been positioned where I want the font to be. And then I actually do change it to black, because I'm going to cut out the font in black, because that design just tied in a little bit better, and moving around some of the shapes so that it incorporates better with the design and doesn't look like you've just stuck on the text as an afterthought, if that makes sense. So here is a design that is going to be cut out, and then I've selected it all, and I'm just making it a little bit smaller because 16 centimeters just seemed a little bit too big for the vinyl decal on the top, so I'm just smalling this down to fit on the garment that I want it to go onto. And then as we are cutting this out on heat transfer vinyl, the design has to be mirrored, so we want to flip this horizontally so that it looks backwards, because as it cuts out, the actual part that you stick to the fabric is facing upwards, so you want your design mirrored so that it's right way around when you come to stick it on to the fabric, if that makes sense. And then in the send tab, you will see you want to go to the line option in this, and you'll see there's lots of different colours that you're going to cut out for the different layers. So what you want to do actually before you do any cutting out is change the material type of what you are cutting. So in this case it is heat transfer and the smooth version of this, and mine cut out pretty well. It was on a blade 1, and force of 4, speed of 8, perfect, cut out really well and easy enough to weed. Then you want to select the colour you're going to cut out first, so I'm going with black first, and head over to the Silhouette Cameo for loading your vinyl and begin cutting it out. So I have all of my heat transfer here, so there's the black, a yellow, an orange and a green, so I've sort of changed all the colours in the program to represent which vinyl I am going to be using for that part. So obviously the outline of the cacti and the little bits around and the words are now going to be in this black. Then I've got the yellow for the centre of the flowers with an orange little border, because these are the only colours I've got that sort of look similar to what I've got on the pants. And then this darker green, and I've tested these all out against the pyjamas and all these look pretty alright, I think, with the design. So let's get on to cutting. I'm going to start with the black ones. The heat transfer vinyl is placed down, shiny side down, so the right side facing downwards, and make sure it is fully stuck to the mat so that this cuts out evenly and smoothly. Load it into the machine, and then when you've hit the send, it will begin cutting. And what I did is cut out each individual layer before doing any weeding. And once your design has cut out, you want to peel it away from the matting, the cutting mat. But what you want to do is actually turn this over and pull the mat away from the vinyl, so that stops the vinyl from pulling and bubbling. It makes it so much easier and it looks so much better. And here you can actually see what has been cut out, I hope. Then you want to use some weeding tools and weed out all of your designs, and I found that this heat transfer vinyl weeded really well, so I will link down the pack that I used below. I think I bought it on Amazon. And you have all your designs weeded out, and as you can see, some of the black line didn't weed very well, but I think it really adds to the design. So then to create the first layer, we want to add in the base of the cacti because they are the bottom layer. So position this in place on the chosen fabric. You want to make sure your fabric is crease free when doing this. Then use the T-file sheet that you get with the pack and a hot iron, placing it on the hottest you can, I believe, and taking off the steam. Then you want to apply even but firm pressure on the design, moving the heat over this until the transfer has stuck, or the vinyl has stuck, and then not removing the backing of this until it has cooled down. This is a remove when it is cool, not whilst it's still hot. And hopefully the design has stuck. It can be a little bit hard to get the backing off, and it might just needed an extra little bit of heat and pressing here, but it did come off and didn't pull away from the fabric. Then we're going in with the black vinyl layer, lining this up in place around the cacti like so. I've already pressed it here and I am just removing the backing, and as you can see, it is stuck well in some places, and in other places it does pull off that heat transfer vinyl a little bit. So I had to go in about 2 or 3 times just to get some of that black vinyl to stick down properly and fully. Once the black vinyl layer is stuck down and complete, it's time to add in those flowers. So the first thing to add in is the yellow, because we are then going to layer over the outline of this. So again, using the T-file sheet, which is like a heat-proof sheet and stops the vinyl sticking to the iron, pressing this into place, making sure it is fully stuck and cool down before peeling away the backing, and then lining up the orange outline of this, which was the most difficult bit to do of this design because everything looked the same all the way around, so it was just making sure everything is in the right place. Again, going back over this with that heat-proof sheet and the iron, and once it was stuck, the heat transfer layer vinyl decal was complete and ready to rock with the pyjamas. have how to create your own vinyl decal and layer the heat transfer vinyl with the Silhouette Cameo 4. It is perfect for adding a little bit of something else to your bare garment, and I think it really does tie in the pyjamas really well. And who doesn't love an old 90s lyric quote in a slightly pun way? I know I do, and this brought back quite a lot of memories from when I was younger. Although, is it actually 90s? And I think it might be it's either late 90s or early 2000s. It's maybe 2000s, not 90s. But anyway, I digress. It still brought in some funkiness to the pyjamas. So let me know what you think of this vinyl decal and whether you'll be giving something similar a go. And also, if you already do a bit of heat transfer vinyling, if you've got any tips and tricks of layering this as well, pop them in them comments, because I'm sure there's lots of different techniques to doing it. I know you can make a little reference point so you can line it all up properly, but let me know in them comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, then please do give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to keep up with more of my crafty antics coming up onto the channel. And whilst you're there, hit the notification bell, because that will tell you each time my videos go live. And why not check out my blog, Aimsy's Antics, which is linked below and up above for you to check out, because there's always a ton more information over on the blog as well. And with that said, I will see you in next week's video, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day and week, and I will see you next time. Bye! Happy crafting!